Yo, what's up? What's up? You rocking with the GOAT of the game, Hip Hop Gamer, Hot 97 to 660 GGL, Global Gaming League. You already know what it is. Now, look, it's not every day you get a chance to talk to one of the leaders in the gaming industry, but not just gaming. I'm talking about overall entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Pushing policies, changing the way we see the industry and the growth in it. I present to you my brother, the one and only Stanley St. Pierre. Love you, bro. First of
Oh,
all, how
it's so
you
good to be
feeling?
with you.
And I'm excited, man. But how you feeling right now, dog? Especially
No,
with this
no,
report out.
it's humbling to be on with you, given all the work that you do in both the hip hop and video game community to bring them together, and also the way that you're bringing communities together, but also advancing a different way to look at how each can think about the other. So you're forging a new path, and so being able to be on your platform and share our information is vital for us. So we are honored to be here with you, given what you've created and continue to create with everything you do.
Wow, yo, bro, thank you so much, man. There's so much I want to talk to you about. So we're gonna jump right into it, man. First question, Big Stan. All right. So when the report came out, right? Yo, I'm seeing articles everywhere. So I just came back from the Universal Hip Hop Museum gala. Like we just had a gala and stuff like that,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And everybody was there. You know what I'm saying? Nas, Slick Rick, you know what I'm saying? Fat Joe, Yo, like you know what I'm saying? DJ Red Alert, like all the legends was there, right? And my brother Chuck Creekmer, he was there too, allhiphop.com. And when this report came out, I'm seeing everybody everywhere, places where you normally don't even get video game articles talking about 41. 41 is the average. What? Like, what's going on? And I've been telling people for years, but everybody is catching on. What does like when that stat came out and y'all put that report out, bro? Like, what does that tell you? Like, in terms of all the research and the data, and what should be happening now in terms of more audiences seeing that this age is like the average age of the average game player.
Well, it's real interesting being in this space because if you played games, you probably played with your peers, but also played with people who might have been older. And so it was normal for you to see within the culture of video games, people of all, ages and, everybody's playing. For those who weren't playing looking in, it's all a surprise to them. But once you get in, so a lot of things I'm going to share with you, from your experience. I had
Mm.
the privilege of listening to your interview with Leon a few weeks back, and you talked about how your grandmother got you involved in games.
Yep.
And so those are the kinds of things that speak to the numbers that we were finding, these kind of hidden treasures that people don't think about. But when they look at their own lives, they probably will recognize what's going on. And two quick examples, and then we'll talk about the numbers. You know, the new Pope plays Word with Friends and Wordle with his brother every day. At least he used to before he was Pope, because that
Oh,
was their way of connecting. He was living in South America, his brother was in Chicago, and to escape all the news of the day, they were playing New York Times games. And I heard on the last interview that Mark Moran just did on his podcast, WTF, he interviewed former President Obama. And guess who
wow.
plays with some of his former staff every day? He's playing online games with former staff. And so all these people have it integrated in their lives in ways that they don't think of themselves as a typical quote unquote gamer, but they're playing games and interactive media on a regular basis. So a lot of what we want to do is keep identifying this information for people so that they understand that they're part of this community, even if they're not thinking about it in a strict sense. And that's because games are ubiquitous and people keep developing all kinds of games. And so it impacts us in so many positive ways. And we're just trying to call it out so that they can recognize it and not have some of their stereotypes. What we did in this particular study was wanting to look beyond the US on a global level, who's
Mm.
playing and why. And so we partnered with some other trade associations from around the world, and we interviewed people from everywhere. We did this 2 years ago and looked at around 12 countries. This year, we said, let's go to 21 countries on every livable continent. So we didn't include Antarctica, but every other continent
Wow.
included. 24,000 players were interviewed and surveyed, and just found, first of all, in terms of the demographics, even before you get to why they play and what impact, just the demographics, like you said, average age is 41, which is incredible, but it speaks to the fact that people who play keep playing. And then, particularly over the pandemic, you saw older players, getting on the games and now staying on board. And it might have just been like an online bridge group that said, you know what, we can't meet, let's get into games now. Now they're 4 or 5 years older than they were back then. And they're like, you know what, this is still a way I can connect with my friends if I'm not as mobile as I was. But for everyone who was
Hmm.
playing, just keep coming and playing up. So I think 41 was more than the US average, which is a little surprising for us, but it just reflects the fact that people keep playing. Also, the fact that about half the people who play are women. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't recognize that that's been the fact for a long
Long
time.
time.
They just think about games in their own way and in their own myths and stereotypes. And you really have more and more people playing different kinds of games. And as new games come out, you get a new audience and you keep growing what video games mean and represent. So we're excited about that.
Wow, yo, bro, let me tell you, I was so blown away. Every time I see these reports, I get excited because when that 41 number hit and more people was blown away by it, so I wasn't. And the reason why I wasn't blown away by it, because I already know, like I live this life. But what a lot of people don't understand is that like when I was 4 years old and my grandmother, taught me and stuff like that, the first game I ever played was Pac-Man, Atari 2600. Now, what's so crazy about that is, when you're young, especially coming from the hood, you can't get whatever you want. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we had to, work with what we had. But now that we're older, like we're the group from then that's pushing the industry forward now. So when you see that number, like once you start gaming, it's very rarely you see somebody stop gaming. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that right there is big business. So my question to you is, with reports like these and actually expounding on more countries and continents and things of that nature, how has business changed with these reports? Like every time, every year, y'all drop a new report. How has the business of gaming and the business of entertainment overall has changed based off these reports that y'all put out to help grow the industry, because we already see where it's headed in like 2030, where it's in the 300 billions and stuff like that. It's insane.
Well, I think one of the big things you continue to see in our industry is people wanting to invest in games and things around games. Because what do people want in business? They want a larger market. They want more market and more market share. And when you realize that video games attracts a really excited and passionate customer or consumer or player base, however you look at it from your business standpoint, you
Mm,
want to be involved in it. And I think once you start looking at it, you realize the reason fans are so passionate about games is because of the power that games have in terms of storyline, in terms of the gameplay and all the visuals, but also the impact that video games have on people. And I think that's the thing that we always try to stress to people, particularly parents, is like the positive impacts that games can have on players.
mm,
You know this, but maybe some of your audience don't realize. Obviously, the number one reason people play is because it's fun, but it
yeah.
also decreases your stress. Like being able to play is actually something that helps you with all the anxieties you may have. And that's what the players are saying in their surveys. They play because it's fun, but it decreases stress. Then you have another
Wow.
population that says it actually increases my mental stimulation. Like it makes me want to learn more. For older Americans, it's a way to stay sharp. And so they're all reporting these things about the impact games have. And these are surveys. So then we look, okay, what's the evidence? There are some academic
Hmm.
studies out there that people put out there where they say that playing games actually impacts your mood in a positive way. And it actually found there was a 2020 study that found that adolescents showed less anxiety and figured out how to interact with others better and conflict resolution and resilience through what they learned in gameplay. And by the way, in the Power of Play study that we have out right now, we have all the survey evidence that we've collected. We also have a list of all these academic studies where people independent of us are looking at the impact of games and saying, wow, it has
Mm.
this really, really positive impact on people's lives because they're seeing what you're doing when you got to go up a level and then you fail and you got to come back. That builds resilience, right? The whole
Yep.
point of the game is coming back and coming back, and it's a safe space to actually fail and get better.
Yeah, yeah. I love yo, bro. I got something for you, Stan. When I tell you, my brother, like y'all don't understand, it's my brother for real. I got something for you right now that ties into what you just said. Especially when you talk about like cognitive increases and understanding the benefits of gaming when it comes to that stress relief and the resilience building. So listen, I made history, bro. And in order for me to take this to the next level, Stan, I got to partner with y'all. I got to partner with the ESA, man. Let me tell you, I'm the first gamer ever, bro, in history. And y'all going to see this come out in a big way. I already spoke with the New York Times, and I got some stuff coming up that's going to like really be crazy. You're going to see it. I'm going to show it to you. But I just debuted my gaming program, the Playmakers, Get Money Gamers. This is also backed by the great and the legendary Denzel Washington. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I just debuted my gaming program at Rikers Island, bro, in prison,
Wow.
bro. And
Wow.
I got this one segment. It's three segments in total, but there's this one segment I got. It's called Cooperative Commissary.
Mm.
And I got it set up where I had four inmates, but they rather be called PICs, which is persons in custody.
Okay.
And I had four of them. One of them is a valedictorian in the high school that's in Rikers Island, bro.
Wow.
Crazy, changing their life around. I had them all playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge together. And not only did they play together, but they played together, bonded together, built together. They reviewed the game together, and they got paid $200 a piece to actually play the game, bro. Literally doing prison reform through video games and ministering to them so when they get out, they can have a better future and a better opportunity, a better job. I got the whole situation lined up, bro. So I'm telling you right now, I seen it and witnessed it firsthand, the change while in prison with gaming. And I would love to know what you think and what your thoughts are in terms of like the ESA and what you do on a day-to-day basis. Now knowing what I just told you, that the gaming experience has now come to jail, to prison, to help with reform. What is your thoughts on that? And how can you take something like that as a stat to help grow the industry even more with that type of proof and evidence?
Well, you've done three things in one. First, you gave them this escape, this way to find hope in a situation that could be hopeless. And you gave them this
Mm,
outlet that they get to use. I think second, you gave them camaraderie. You gave them a reason to connect that they might not have otherwise known with these other folks who enjoy what they do, but you have to work cooperatively, right? You got to be
right.
able to figure that out. That means you got to build trust. The third is you're giving them a skill set that has application outside the prison walls. Like they might be making $200 now, but when they get out, if they're able to really keep that up and do something really special with it, they have an opportunity for potentially a career that is positive, that impacts people so well and helps them. So it's like a triple threat that you've created with them and understanding that people care about them from the outside looking in. So yeah, that's just commendable on a humanitarian front and a philanthropical front, but also in terms of creating opportunities, which is the most important thing because that's where the legacy comes. It's not what you did today, but its impact long term. So kudos on doing that, but also I'm excited to see what path that might take for all these folks who are seeing something they probably didn't think was possible. Like they went in and all of a sudden I can have a career in video games. Yes, you can.
Yeah,
So thank
yo,
you for
oh
that.
my God. Yeah, bro, it's crazy. I had to share that with you and also get your feedback on it because with all the data, I think this could be a new opportunity to capture data in an area that data was never captured. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
That's, I
so
think,
true.
such a great case study in terms of how can gaming also be used for prison reform. That I
That
think
is
that
so
is
true.
genius, bro. I think that'd be
It,
genius.
It is. Well, let me ask you, what inspired that? Because that is so unconventional. How did you think, "Hey, I'm going to apply this passion I have, this skill that I have, these connections, and this platform to prison reform and to help people who are incarcerated or in custody?"
Yeah, well, two things. Time is something that you don't get back. And a lot of times, you come up in circumstances where I'm gonna just keep it real with you, man. Like if my grandmother wasn't in my life, for real, bro, you wouldn't know who I am.
Right.
I'm gonna keep it like that. I'm from East New York, Brooklyn. I grew up in the 80s era, 90s era. So I'm telling you, like what I had to look up to and what I had to follow, if it wasn't for my grandmother, and remember, I said grandmother, not mother. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not her responsibility, but she took it on. So if it wasn't for her love and her sacrifice, you would not know me because
Mm.
I already know where I would have been. I already know where I could have been headed when I look, hindsight 2020.
Yeah.
So a lot of people is dealt a hand that they don't even know how to play. And a lot of times people be hustled out of their life. So I don't complain, bro. I just create. So I looked at it from a standpoint of gaming saved my life in many ways and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I want to give back what my grandma gave me, but I also know that in the prison system, you're not even considered human a lot of times. You just looked at it as a number, and but you still human though. Like I couldn't sit back and see everybody, all the killings or the stabbings, a lot of people being wrongfully convicted, just stuff that you see day to day, the negativities. So people walk and talk and march and stuff like that. But I'm the kind of person where I'm a solution based person. Like I get things done, bro. So I just wanted to take everything that my grandma gave me and give it back in the way I knew how through video games, and that's the way I minister. So, let's just say I got a lot of government ties and relationships, so I was able to break that barrier and bring my program there. But that's what inspired me, man. Like I know where I would have ended up if it wasn't for my grandma, and I didn't want to see other people go through the same thing because they didn't have the proper love and care. So
Yeah.
gaming has a way of bringing people together in ways that's so priceless, bro. And I just wanted them to have a shot and to have that experience. They allowed me to do it. And man, when I tell you it was overwhelming, like you're going to see the footage when it comes out, bro. But like even one of the persons in custody, bro, I actually prayed with them right then and there on
Wow.
the spot. Like gaming really is a different like power tool to use in life, bro. And I just want to commend you and your team on coming out with these reports because it tells such a story that a lot of people may not see if they look surface level only. And I just wanted to go a little bit deeper and speak with you about how this report also affected me and inspires me every year. And this report helped me also see the benefits that it can have and why I do what I do too. So I love y'all, man. Like I just want you to know what y'all do really inspire me too. But that's why I
No.
did it, bro.
That's it's funny. You're giving me all this information, and I was thinking how, again, like we're we're providing people with information that is really activated in the real world because you don't need this report to know the impact it's going to have because you're living it, but sharing it with people is so important. You're talking about skill setting. One of the things we asked a lot of players in the report was about how do games help you with your skills? And they're talking about the fact that yes, it helped them with resilience and the things we talked about before, but it's also helping them with technical skills of being able to apply those in very direct ways. We even found, we asked players if they thought that playing the video game version of a sport they played helped them. And 54% of global
Wow.
players said playing a video game in the sport I love sharpens my skill, whether it's
Wow.
soccer, kind of football worldwide, basketball through NBA 2K. 54% said, I think playing the video game helps me in the sport. And I've seen this anecdotally because nowadays where kids go to play like flag football or what have you,
Yeah.
they're calling plays that they learned in Madden. YYZ,
Wow.
they're actually using those plays in the real world because they're so used to those playbooks. And it's changing, according to the NFL, how players are coming in because they're coming understanding what a playbook looks like. And that's in part through all their
Mm.
training, but in part by seeing professional playbooks and terminology and the like. And so more and more you're seeing games actually have a positive impact on how people do real world things, everything from, medical procedures to to sports and the like. There was one funny study for me that we have in there at the University of Texas. High school and college students with video game experience outperformed medical students on robotic surgery simulations because they had better eye-hand coordination.
Wow, yo, that's facts. That's facts. Yo, bro. Oh my, I'm glad you brought that up. That is facts. So like, yo, I got something I want to add to that though, bro.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So I just became the chief communications officer for
Wow.
GameClass.ai. And what's so interesting is with the study that you just spoke about, I got my program in the schools. I'm partnered with many different schools now. I'm actually a full partner with the Board of Education at scale. Like it's crazy, bro. So what I wanted to tell you is we about to roll out because we already did this in Africa and other places, but we about
Wow.
to roll this out in the United States in a big way. And what it is every subject, whether it's science, social studies, math, or mental health and things of that nature, we do it through gaming templates. So I give you an example, right? Let's say you're like in English class. So instead of being in a regular English classroom where you got the chalkboard and you write on it and you do English, the classroom would be a big like a TV screen and it's a video of like NBA 2K and they're teaching you about compound words. Like what is a compound word and stuff like that. So jump plus shot equals jump shot. So you would learn by watching you play NBA 2K all the time. Now you get a chance to look at LeBron James take
Right.
a jump shot and the course is right then and there. The curriculum is right then and there, built inside the template of NBA 2K. And then the teachers they have the opportunity to put up multiple choice question. Do you answer it? You get the data behind the scenes. We got over 30 patents that we own for this, and we got AI created curriculums that's taught through video games in each subject for school. Bro,
Wow.
it's called GameClass.ai. And, yo, bro, that's another thing I want to bring to the ESA, bro, to the family. Game Class, because we are doing it, bro. Everything you're talking about in the reports, we found a new way to get more data to help with
Yeah.
that,
And
bro.
I think that's critically important because if kids are playing games and if that's how they learn, then you want to motivate them through something that they're used to, but using it for educational purposes. And more teachers are looking for those tools because it captures the attention of students. And games are just such a great way to get knowledge in while they're building these other skills that help them in the real world.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's insane. So now I got a major question for you because y'all went everywhere on this report. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing France, I'm seeing all this other stuff. So like my question to you is what's one or two of the biggest differences that you've noticed outside of the United States? Because in certain areas, if I'm not mistaken, I think in France, females play more games than the guys like in France and like other areas. So, how has this report been helpful and been used to even develop better business models in the gaming industry for success, not just in the US, but even outside of the US as well?
Now, one of the exciting things for us was being able to do what we did in the US and work with our partners to understand the scale of what we're doing. And you're right, each
Mm.
country has a little bit different. For instance, like in terms of the average age, China had the kind of youngest average age of around 32, whereas Italy was closer to
Wow.
50, right? So
What? Bro,
exactly. And
you
so
gotta. Wow.
so it shows you that there's these interesting disparities between the populations that are playing, but also what they're playing and the like. And I think for each country, they're able to identify, are people playing mobile more? Are they playing PC more? Are they enjoying
Mm.
puzzle games more or, sports games or first person shooters, those kinds. So I think with each country, you get a different sensibility of what works, but then you also get to see what's common. And not a
Mm.
surprise, mobile is the biggest source everywhere because everyone's got a mobile device in their pocket on the move. Now,
Right.
a mobile game plays differently than a console or a PC game, but it's another experience people can have. You're in the waiting room, you're on the subway, you're
Yep.
trying to figure out how to, pass a little bit of time. That's a very different experience than putting your headset on like you've got and getting ready for your co-op, right? And
Yep,
so
yep.
we found that with each country, there might be some slight variations, but those commonalities of why people play, the social connections they make through it, and how it alleviates stress, builds skills, those were common factors that were exciting. And so you have countries with a very young population or a very old population, they're all finding that games help. And I think for the business community, that means there's an addressable market for you in every jurisdiction, and you've got to figure out how you tailor your message for what really drives the motivations of that population.
Wow, yo, bro, this is fire, bro. So, yo, I got a couple more questions for you, then I'll let you go, man. So, the next question that I got is, and this is around like the next generation, like the PlayStation 6 and like the next Xbox. I know Sarah Barnes just recently spoke about, and yo, shout out to Sarah Barnes because she confirmed my story on the next Xbox being a hybrid, like a PC console, like in
Wow.
one
Wow.
type of environment. So this is crazy. I'm very excited about this. So one thing I want to ask you, man, is with these reports, like how does these gaming companies approach y'all in terms of utilizing the data to help them drive the next system, the next type of games that they want to make, the infrastructure that they want to do, how they want to go about using AI, you know what I'm saying, especially with all the investments with
Yeah.
AMD and Nvidia and stuff like that. So how does this report, bro, year over year impact or like some of the questions you've been asked, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
when it comes to the next generation? How does this report help drive the future, of how these companies decide to invest when they want to make sure they bring a healthy gaming environment to us, the end user, so we could just have fun and enjoy these games, bro?
A lot, these companies, when you talk about Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, EA, their research is so impeccable and deep, it's phenomenal. And they understand their player universe, they understand markets they want to address. And so they have a very, very deep understanding of how to use these tools, how to use this data. What we do is provide, in some cases, affirmation of what they're seeing, but in other
Mm,
cases, opportunities for them to look deeper into what we're seeing and what they might want to use that data for. And so,
mm,
the work we do, we want to benefit the entire industry and everybody who's associated with games because our goal is to make everyone an advocate for games. I don't care if you're,
mm.
at a congressional hearing or a PTA meeting. When someone says something and they need to be corrected, we want you to have the information and to have the simple talking point of what you need to be able to do. So what we're trying to do is democratize that information so that people who play games will have the opportunity to not just defend it, but to what you talked about of being able to really proselytize the impact it has. I was on a flight recently, pulled up my Switch. Soon I'll have my Xbox Ally. I'll have that
Yeah.
soon, right? Um, and this dad, saw his son excited that someone pulled up this game, and he said something not very pleasant about people who play games, and I had that opportunity to say, let me tell you what playing games does that's different than reading or watching movies, and why basically 70% of parents would prefer their kid playing games than being on social media, and why they're finding
Mm,
that, the interactivity of games actually uses your mind and stimulates you more so than being passive and reading a book. Now, I love reading books, I love movies, I love music, I love hip
yeah.
hop, I love all, so I do all those things, but there's a different engagement level you have when you're playing an interactive um, uh, product than if you're just passively watching. And there's a moment for each one. And as I explained it, I could see his face kind of turn like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And then you can ask him a question about his game experience. I remember I was talking to this senator, and he was around 60, and I said, he said, "Oh, you're one of these game people." And I said, and so I always flip it. I listen to what Busta Rhymes, all these people flip it. You got to flip it.
Yep.
So I flipped it on him. I said, "Does anyone in your life play games?" And he said, "Well, let's see. My wife plays Candy Crush every night before she goes to bed, but just for an hour. And I'm an old fighter pilot, so I like to get on my Xbox flight simulator and just fly around just to, cruise." And then he kind of caught himself and he said, "Are you saying we're gamers?" I said, "I don't put labels on things. But you just told me your wife plays an hour a night on a mobile game and you're on your Xbox on your console every night for an hour." And like that changes the conversation. Now we can talk about the impact instead of
Mm,
stereotypes because here's someone who plays every night. And his wife
Right.
plays every night. And he did not see himself as part of that community, even though he is. And so a lot of what we're trying to do is democratize that information, let everyone know you're part of it or it's in your house. And how are you managing that? And, most people during the pandemic said, games let my children or me connect with people in a really consistent and safe way. And the more stories I
Wow.
hear like that, the better, right? And in fact, I had a congresswoman, she's from Alaska. She said my son got to stay in touch with his cousins, who he would have never have seen because first of all, we live in Alaska and they live in a lower 48. But even with that, like they would not see each other as much as they actually communicate now. And they have a relationship because games open up an avenue for them to talk through this really lonely moment. So we try to remind people of that, and then we give them the stats so that they have the information if people question it, because we have the information. It's there for everyone to read, and we also share the independent information because we think it's
Mm.
all valuable for people to know.
Yo, this is big time, bro. This is big time. Yo, Stan, I'm telling you right now. First of all, I can't wait to see you. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen you in a minute. So like I'm not sure if you're gonna be at Games Beat um Summit in November. I'm gonna be there. I hope you're gonna be there. I gotta see you, man. It's been a minute. But for this final question, it's a two-parter, bro. It's a two-parter. So follow me, all right? So based on all the data, all the stats, everything that y'all capture, right? What do you think, or what do you hear most when it comes to like potentially like when it comes to PlayStation 6 and the next Xbox? What is the number one, number two, or number three demand that users want in a next generation console, or what is the demand that the companies are looking for based off your report that they believe people would want in a next generation console? So that's the first part of the question. I'll let you answer that first, and then we'll bring it on home because this is Hot 97, so we gotta talk a little bit of hip hop. You know that.
Excellent,
So,
excellent, excellent.
but yeah, that's the
Yeah.
first part.
I should be real clear. Like these companies, when they come out with their new devices, they don't come to us and ask us too many questions because they have all of their special sauce internally,
Okay.
and we try not to pry in their business because it's very competitive landscape. We let them do what they're doing. What we try to do is provide information on what we're seeing and what people like, and then we also experience this as people who love games. And so, I think one of the things you're seeing people really appreciate is portability, right? And so with this latest announcement by Xbox about the newest release on the Xbox, the Ally and the Ally X that they're working on that they've just released, you're seeing that people want to be able to take their games with them. I just talked about traveling with my Switch, so I think that's something people really appreciate. And I think people also appreciate the connectivity they have with other people because the more connection you can make in the game, the better. And I think they're always looking for ways to top whatever they've already done in the
Mm.
latest console releases. And so I think they look at our data as a way to both confirm what they're seeing in the marketplace, but also see like, huh, if there are older gamers playing, what are things that appeal to them as well in terms of gameplay and functionality? Because they're also consumers, right? People who are playing games are
Yeah.
also consumers. And so how do you do that? So I think they're using it in a lot of different ways. And we just try to make sure that everyone has the information, including you and your audience, because we want all of you to be able to harness it and use it in positive ways, and to, share why games are the number one form of entertainment in the United States and in the world.
Yes, not absolutely, man. Thanks, big dog. And now to bring it on home, Stan, I gotta ask you, man. This is big right here. This is big time, baby. So, when it comes to the culture of hip hop, right? When you do these reports every year, right? It's kind of like you dropping an album for the industry, right? When you drop a report, bro, you're dropping an album. You know what I'm saying? For us to consume, learn from, get inspired by, and stuff like that. What hip hop artists you would love to associate with the ESA that if their music can help influence the business of gaming, what hip hop artists would you want to partner with to help grow the industry on the musical side of things? Name that artist and after you name the artist, who would you want to battle in a game just for bragging rights with the ESA?
I gotta tell you, the list is so long, right? Because the other thing you're hearing in rap is people talking about their gameplay or they're competing in
Facts.
games, right?
Yes.
Because it's like athletes, when you watch those behind the scenes shows of like sports, like they're playing games against each other. And it's the same with the rappers. They're talking about their games and how much they love, games, esports, the characters, the Chung Lee rap, right?
Yep.
Nicki
Yep. Yep.
Minaj. But I mean, like it inspires so much. So it'd be hard to pick one just because there are so many. So
Pick a few. It's fine. Pick a few.
pick a few. Oh man. I mean, obviously you have the greats of the Jay-Z's and the like. I mean, they're just those folks just do so much and they impact the culture. And they also help let people know what the truth is and what is in the culture. And I'll just, just for your information, I grew up in Ohio, but I was born in Brooklyn. Not East New York.
Oh,
I was born,
word.
you
Oh,
know,
I gotta spin a chain. You was born in Brooklyn,
So,
son. Listen.
so, so I, so, but I don't want any beef. I don't, I love the Bronx. I love Brooklyn. I love Staten Island. I love Queens. Love Manhattan. So I love all of those cultures. So there's just so many. Um, and if I'm just talking about the people who've impacted me, it's kind of interesting. Like if I listen to what's been on my repeat, living or dead,
Yeah.
I loved Tribe. Tribe was just
Woo.
so powerful for me. Um, and MF Doom, who I thought was like just so like creative in
Yes.
the sounds
Yes.
that came in, just quirky, but different, but then made it work and had that real interesting voice and his rhythms and talked about games in some of what he rapped. So there's just so many though that I listened to that the list will go on and on and on. But
Wow.
I
Now
just
you
had a
said some
favorite.
heavy
But
hitters though, and you said some
yeah.
cultural heavy hitters too.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, now you got that. And then for the last thing, who you calling out in a battle, son? Because
In a battle.
real talk, Stan, I need to see you on these sticks, man. You know what I'm saying? I need to see you grab this PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo something like. I need to see you get down. Who do you call out right now? You know what I'm saying? Who gets that battle?
All right, Kendrick. We're gonna play with Kendrick.
Oh, for real? Oh, let me tell you something right now, son. You'll be surprised, but there's a lot of people on the West Coast that I got access to, and although a lot of people don't know, but Kendrick get down. Like
Yeah.
you can ask Snoop and all of them, and Warren G, because I actually battled Warren G as
Oh
well.
wow.
But
Wow.
yeah, I battled Warren G in Undisputed boxing. It's crazy,
Oh,
but
that's nice.
they all play. So I'm telling you, don't sleep. Kendrick might destroy you. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
Oh
after what, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm just saying. So nah, but this is amazing, man. Yo, Stanley, thank you so much, man. Thank you for the work that y'all do, especially with these reports, bro. And I can't wait to see you, man. It's gonna be incredible in person. And
Yep.
on that note, listen, y'all, it's not every day you get a chance to speak to one of the leaders in our industry. So make sure y'all take notes. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention because he's somebody that to get a hold of him, like it takes a lot. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you understand the power that this man has. Learn from this interview, build with this interview, and stay connected and spread the love of gaming. You know what I'm saying? On that note, we out of here. You rocking with the
All
goat
right.
of the game, hip hop gamer, on your hot 9-7 every day. That's my word. And we out here, baby. Peace.